I admire her. I admire her for her tenacity. I admire her for her willingness to really take on the establishment. I think I'm not entirely sure of the whole backstory surrounding these tapes. It's Kari Lake that I'm talking about, only in that, hey, you know, if somebody comes over to your house and doesn't think they're being recorded and you have a private conversation, that kind of stinks. It's suddenly like the guy's life is ruined and he's all over the news. All that said, she must have really felt strongly in order to have gotten to that point. Think of that. But I don't think it's winning her any friends and favors. I'm going to show you what happened to Kari Lake in Arizona. But before I do, let's listen to a little bit of the tape. Because, wow, she certainly sounds like she's got a lot of chutzpah here. Here's Kari Lake telling somebody to go, you know what?
Is there a number at which
I can be bought?
not be bought?
That's what it's about.
You can take a pause for a couple of years.
No.
And then go right back to what you're doing.
No. 10 million, 20 million, 30, no. A billion, no. This is not about money. This is about our country. I think it's disturbing that they would even, that anybody would think this is...
No, to be fair, even me, I'll say this. I want a fresh face right now. For the reason that I've never seen anyone, I can't think of a single person in a federal race who's lost, ran in and won. I can't think of it. If you can think of it, let me know.
I'm not going to let these people who hate our country tell me not to run. You should call them and tell them to get behind me.
I mean,
I can win, and they should get behind me.
I will happily say those words.
Yeah.
Do you think my words will carry any weight? No.
Okay, well, did you think you would come in here and that I would be bought?
So that was Kari Lake talking to the former head of the GOP in Arizona. And he was allegedly some kind of mentor, according to him, to her. She at one point worked for his company. So she's like, you know what? Like, people aren't going to get me out. They're not going to pay me some amount of money, put me on some board and like keep me off in the corner. I'm here because I want to do good for our country. So, you know, we can take her at face word for that. She spoke in a recent interview. We'll have to bring you some of those clips maybe tomorrow because it's pretty interesting. She actually was talking about how she felt threatened and she thought it was odd that he was coming to her house. And that's the reason why she recorded it. And then she sat on it for months and months and months and months. And now it's finally out there. And so there's a lot of people in the Arizona Republican Party that aren't taking too kindly to this. Hence what I'm about to show you. A whole lot of booing for Kari Lake. My goodness, they're in Arizona. This coming after she, of course, released those private tapes with the former head of the Republican Party. Listen to this.
We don't agree on everything, but one thing we do agree on is the elections in Arizona are a corrupt mess. Can we agree that our elections are a mess in Arizona?
You did it!
No? Okay, yes, there we go. And I know that more than anybody. And President Trump knows that more than everybody. This election is about making sure that our elections in 2024 are run fairly, and there's not anybody in the country who's better at that than Gia Svoboda. That is why I endorse her, and President...
Wow. So you wonder, as we talk about potential possible players in that spot for VP, how that affects Kari Lake. Like, on the one hand, it could help her a ton. The tape could get played. Americans could say, oh, well, she loves our country. On the other hand, like, look, I've known Donald Trump long enough to know that he may not like that. He may not like the idea that there was a secret tape and then it got leaked. I mean, he just may not be okay with that. I don't know. I have not spoken to him about it. But the other component that you got to consider with Kari is exactly what I just mentioned with Tucker. Like, Kari may be awesome, but maybe she should be top dog. Like, what are you doing running as the VP? The VP is a very, very different kind of position. It's like if, you know, you have a radio host, right? And you get this big like personality radio, and then you've got sort of somebody who's supporting. It's just a different sort of thing, right? She's got to play the supporting cast member. And the question is, can she? I think that she wants to be top dog. And I think she could be. I think she could have a big career in politics. So why take the VP slot? I mean, think about it. Who has ever gone on to do great stuff, right? As VP. And that was just easy. I was setting myself up because I'm thinking Joe Biden, he went on, he was vice president. I'm thinking like, who's out there? Dan Quayle and, Bush only had one term. Do you think, is that going to be Biden one term? You know why? Because Biden was never presidential material because the vice president never is. I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen. This is just how politics works. You need somebody who's going to show up, who's going to go to every chicken dinner, who's going to sit there adoringly when the president is speaking and just bide their time. And I don't necessarily see, I mean, I could be wrong. Vivek, he's a big personality too, and he doesn't need it. He doesn't need the money. He's spending his, I love the guy. I think he's fantastic, and I think he's got a huge future. But maybe it's not the VP slot. Same with Kari. Tucker, I think, is going to have a huge career in media, so it would be sort of, he'd be great, I'm sure, but like it might be kind of foolish to do that. So there's different. I mean, Tim Scott, I think he'd be terrific. I think that Ben Carson is brilliant. He'd be awesome. You've got Governor Noem who's in the running. I would have said in the old days, Nikki Haley, but now that ship kind of, sailed away, shall we say, in more ways than one.